Hello Internet, and welcome to my review for Boruto Naruto Next Generations episode 77. When we last left off, Boruto and the gang were trying to fight Garaga and get the reverse scale from under his chin. But after a quick round of that not working, Auda joined up with them, who is one of Sasuke's summon snakes. Who popped up like once during the fourth Ninja War. That great moment where like all three of Team 7 use their summons, you know the scene. And then Chocho got turned to stone in their rematch. Then on the Leaf Village side, this new character, Yurito, is acting all suspicious and seems to be trying to interfere with the Gatekeeper waking up. That's where we leave off. So, before we begin, I still have my straw poll out until this afternoon at this point. It's like 1:30 Monday morning. By this afternoon, that'll be set in stone, with actually not as many shows as I thought, because I thought we'd be having Titan this quarter, but we don't have Titan. That got pushed back till April, which is something I'll bring up my Titan video tomorrow, I promise. Hopefully tomorrow. We'll see how the day goes. But yeah, that'll be a thing. Anyway, the top two shows on that will be brought to the channel. You know the drill. I've been talking about this for a while, and I'm getting sleepy, so I'm gonna go on and review 77. So we open right back on the Garaga fight. Chocho is still a statue. And, they go for a little while. It's just kind of a fight, it's not a particularly, great fight, the first part of this Garaga fight. But it does the trick. Until afterwards, Garaga heads back to his feeding ground, where he'll have the home field advantage and the ability to, be in the dark and blend in, because he's the same color as, the walls. And Auda reveals that he really can't fight anymore. He's done. He got the shit beat out of him by Garaga, and he's pretty much useless. Which is kind of his role in the arc, I guess. He didn't really do all that much in general, but anyway. Then we cut back to the Leaf Village for a little while. Back in Konoha, Sakura and her, attendant lady, leave Yurito alone with the Gatekeeper, and the Gatekeeper, Yurito alone with the Gatekeeper, and Yurito goes to the Gatekeeper to inject him with some weird shit, and the Gatekeeper grabs him by the arm and de-transforms into Moegi, because they tricked him, figured out he was doing something, which, again, I feel like would have worked a lot better if we had spent any time with Yurito whatsoever, just because the whole, this character you just met is a villain doesn't really work. But yeah, anyway. But anyway, Sakura is like, ha, I caught you, and then he makes a distraction, runs away, runs into Udon, and they have this really tense scene, where, Yurito's like, yeah, someone attacked the Gatekeeper, go help out. And then Udon's like, alright, but just one thing. I thought you were the security guy, and so why are you here? And it's we all know why he's there, but, just, the tension of that little bit, it really, really worked. But then Yurito's like, okay, I've been found out. He grabs Denki, holds him hostage. Denki uses a flashbang real fast to get away, and then there's this really nice, and, this whole scene is, really well animated. It's really good. Metal lands some, tries to land some blows on them, and just looks really fluid. Even, Yurito, he, crouched down, and, he stands back up, and, the standing up animation is really good, which is a really weird thing to say. But it looked like super high quality standing up animation. But then, Udon, warps behind him, and we find out that he was under a genjutsu. Which I should have seen coming, because as I was watching this last week, I noticed, and even this week too, I noticed there was something weird about his eyes. They just didn't quite look the same as everyone else's. I didn't quite put my finger on it, but as soon as the genjutsu is gone, his eyes get, that normal anime eyes look. They look more shiny than, they were, dull and flat earlier. So yeah. But right after that, a centipede that looks very similar to the clay bombs created by a certain ex-terrorist turned Akatsuki member, shows up, and Centipede shows up right on Yurito's back and explodes, seemingly killing him. Which Boruto has, for the most part, stayed away from the wanton killing. And I think this is the first really, like, just flippant death the show has given us. You know, normally, like there have been a couple deaths before, but they've been, for one thing, villain deaths, like Kinshiki and Momoshiki. And they're normally treated with some kind of, like, weight. This is really the first time that was just like, yeah, he's just dead. Sorry, he's dead. Whatever. Moving on. And that's really all we get out of the Leaf Village this week. Because the rest of the episode is dedicated to wrapping up the Garaga stuff and moving on to the next part of the arc. And so we cut back to Boruto, Sarada, Shikidai, and Inojin in the feeding chamber. And they're like, the feeding grounds, and we find out that it's too dark for them to see. Not too dark for us to see, thankfully, because that was a problem with last week's episode that's pretty much gone this week. And then there's this shot of, like, Boruto thinking, oh no, how are we gonna find Garaga? Right as Garaga's eye opens behind him. It's really cool. I really loved it. It was, I got chills. And then, so, Inojin is, like, flying around on the ink bird, because they all assume that Garaga can't see them, because they can't see him. And then when Garga shows up to, like, slam Inojin, he spares the bird, because the bird does not give off a heat signal. And so from this, Shikidai realizes that Garaga is only tracking heat signals and is not using his vision to see. And from that, he gets another great strategic fight scene, because Boruto, I said this before in my manga videos and a little bit of my anime videos, but it's really good at giving us, like, strategy in its fight scenes, whereas a lot of shonen are just like, you know, full power, fight your way, you know, power levels, whoever has the higher power level always wins. Boruto is really good about, like, not doing that. And we see that again here with the Shadow Clone based strategy, because he can't tell the difference. And that allows Boruto to get right about to grab the reverse scale. And as he's doing that, he slips into Garaga's, like, tailed beast style mindscape, which I thought was just a tailed beast thing, but apparently Garaga has one too. And Boruto can slip into it, which is kind of weird, because I thought Naruto could only do that because of him being a Jinchuriki, and Boruto is not a Jinchuriki, so I don't know why that would happen. But whatever, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't really matter too much. It doesn't really affect the plot, because, like, Garaga can still... It's not like Garaga is unable to talk, and then he's able to communicate only because of this Mindscape scene. They still could have had the conversation in the cave, I guess, so I'm not too caught up in it. But we do find out that Garaga had a human, and that for some reason... So Garaga and his human were, like, fighting these invaders of their fort, or whatever. And at one point, his human is like, alright, we can't handle this, let's retreat. Garga's like, nah, I can still keep fighting. And so his human does some lightning style in the back of his head through his eye, and that's how he lost his eye. And I feel like if Garaga's arc is going to continue throughout this arc, we're going to find out why that was. Maybe this is a bit of a contrivance, but maybe the same people who have Mitsuki are also responsible for his eye. I don't know. It seems a little bit not very good. I don't know. But we don't really find out why. Maybe it doesn't really matter why. Maybe it just kind of matters that this guy was an ass, and we don't really need to know the exact details. I'd be fine with that. But yeah, after that, Garaga and Boruto have this conversation, in that mindscape. there's really just this classic clash of worldviews. You know, Garga's like, no, you can't really trust anyone. You know, even you're just here to like take the reverse scale and fuck with my life. And Mitsuki's betrayed you, and you're still naive enough to like go after him. And Boruto's like, nah, Mitsuki did not betray me. There's something else going on here. I know it. And honestly, I'm really down for like just the like worldview. There's like big, you know, worldview clashes. So I really dug that scene. And then after that, outside the Mindscape, Boruto decides not to go for the reverse scale, and instead to enter into a summoning contract with Garaga, which is not the path I was expecting. That was a shocker for me. And Garaga's like, yeah, but if you fail, you're getting eaten. So we'll see what comes of that in the coming weeks. My money, by the way, is on Boruto not getting eaten. Just my bet. I'll bet $500 on that. Boruto will not get eaten. He will not be eaten and digested by Garaga. That's my theory. But anyway, they head back to the White Snake Sage. And the White Snake Sage is like, hey, where is the reverse scale that I sent you up for? And Boruto's like, it's right here. And he like puts his hand on his heart and he's like, alright, let me see it. And so he does the summoning jutsu and out pops Garaga, like, you know, looming over the White Snake Sage. And the White Snake Sage like, yeah, why not just let me eat you right now? Why should I eat you right now? Like, you're trying to steal my reverse scale. And the White Snake Sage reverts back to their original White Snake Sage form, which is revealed to be I think we actually saw this form in Kabuto's flashback, I think, during the war. And, like, it's just a snake smoking a cigarette. Or smoking a pipe, I guess. And, like, alright, you know, y'all are amusing me enough. I'll show you the snake's thoughts. And we find out that after Mitsuki attacked the guards, he sent his snake to stop their hearts for just a little bit, so that while the guy checked, they would seem to be dead. So Mitsuki's absolutely tricking these guys. Why he's tricking them is still beyond me. But and they also find out that Mitsuki is headed towards the land of Earth, which solidifies that data connection because he was also from the land of Earth originally, before he became an Akatsuki member. And yeah, so then the gang heads out from Ryuchi Cave, and that's kind of where we leave off. So, there are still plenty of mysteries afoot in this episode. You know, we've still got, what exactly Mitsuki wants with these guys. They don't really, like, Mitsuki was having, you know, issues about who he was, but these guys don't really seem connected to that at first glance, at least from what I can tell. And we don't know why he thinks these weird guys can help him, or who these guys are. They just kind of popped up. They have not really done anything, besides the fact that they're definitely Iwa Shinobi, just because, again, that data connection, it's pretty strong. But now we do know where they're going. You know, we have a set destination. Mitsuki is headed this way. They're not just, like, wandering through the dark, hoping Orochimaru will help them, or hoping the White Snake Sage will help them. They know where he is. And I imagine next episode, or maybe, I doubt no later than the end of next episode, we will reach Mitsuki. That's my theory. And so I have hope. I have hope that we will start to get a climax to this arc. Honestly, I mentioned last week that like the ending kind of made me think that we would be headed all the way to December. At this point, I've seen a little bit of the summaries for like up to episode 80 or so, I think. And it definitely continues past there, but I can't imagine much more past there, just because I don't know, Boruto is not the kind of show to give us like multiple episode fights for each member of Mitsuki's group. That's not going to happen. Oh, also, the show completely glossed over this, but I think Garaga freed Chocho. I remember there being 5 people when they spoke of the White Snake Sage, but at no point do they actually free Chocho on screen. Which, like, Chocho deserves better. Chocho's had a really, really rough couple cores. You know, she was treated awfully in that Chocho arc, and now she was turned into stone, and we didn't get to see her unsonified. It's just a mess for Chocho right now, and she deserves better. All right, that's my final takeaway from this episode. Chocho Akimichi really deserves better. All right. So yeah, that's all I have to say for this week's episode. Hope you all enjoyed the episode and the video. If you did, feel free to drop me a like, subscribe, fill out that straw poll before it's too late. Again, like 12 hours left. And if not, nope. Fill out the straw poll, or do whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. And as always, people, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!